In this video, I'm going to show you a very simple compositing trick that we use to capture shots that wouldn't be possible otherwise. Oftentimes when we're shooting portraits or whatever we might be shooting, we run into situations where we're unable to create a particular lighting effect without actually getting our lights, our flashes, our assistants actually into the shot. When we run into this situation, we shoot to create a simple composite. Now, to pull off a simple composite like the one we're going to be showing you, you need a couple things in addition to your actual camera and lighting gear. We also need to have a tripod. We prefer to be using a shutter release, and of course you're going to need Lightroom and Photoshop. Now, for our tripod, I'm in love with the new lineup of Mi Photo tripods. We recently did a review on these. This one is the carbon fiber Globetrotter, and Mi Photo has a great lineup of these tripods. It's actually a Benro company, and they're incredibly light. They are very reliable. We've been using them for a long time. They've been durable. They fold into a very compact form, which makes them amazing travel tripods. And the best part about them is they come with a 5-year warranty and they won't break the bank. They're very affordable for what they're giving you. Next, we actually have found a great shutter release. We have the Velo Shutter Boss, and this is a wireless and wired shutter control. It does everything. It's an intervalometer, it has bulb control, everything you could basically want in a shutter release. And the best part about it is that it hasn't broken yet. So of all the triggers that we've actually used, this one has been the most reliable, which is why I'm comfortable recommending it. Here is the wireless control portion of it, and also it comes with the wire that you need to hook up to the camera. Because we're frequently using our pocket wizards and stuff on camera during these shoots, we generally will use the actual wired function instead of the wireless functionality, but both work great. So let's show you exactly how this works. Now take a look at the scene that you see here. In this scene, we have a beautiful couple that's standing over this tide pool, and it's just after sunset. And you can see that if we expose the couple for their skin tones, we completely lose all the color and the detail in our sky. So what we need to do is we need to light up our couple. Now what I would generally do in this situation is throw, say, a grid or a snoot onto my flashes. That way the light doesn't spill everywhere in the scene. I'll place it outside of the frame and then I'll direct it just towards the couple so that we don't get any splash or anything on the rocks and so forth. We keep the light just on them. The problem with this shot is that since we're using a very wide composition, our flashes don't have enough throw or power to reach the couple when placed outside of the frame. So this is where we turn to these simple compositing techniques. So the first thing we need to do is we need to actually set up our tripod in the field, and I'm going to demonstrate as we're going here. So I'm going to set up my tripod. The Mi Photo tripods, they use Arca Swiss plates, and we're going to pop this thing on here like so. And let me actually bring this over to the other side so you can see. Because we have the Pocket Wizard set up, I'm going to go ahead and just use the wired trigger. And if you don't have a shutter release, it's not a huge deal. You can actually use like the camera's internal timer. So I'll use either like the 2 or the 10-second timer in these kind of situations. The only issue is that since we're shooting these kind of composites, if we bump or move the frame at all with our hands, it's going to make it much more difficult to basically line them up and to create the shot inside of Photoshop. That's why a shutter release is optimal for these kind of situations. That way you don't need to bring the hands anywhere near the camera once it's already set up. So once we're set up, we dial in the desired exposure. We want to go for a more dramatic look in this particular shot, really drawing attention into the sky and in the reflections in the tide pool. So we set the camera up for 1/200th of a second shutter speed at f/16 and ISO 100, and with both flashes at full power to light our couple. When we're ready, we would capture the first shot using our shutter release or the internal timer. If you are using the timer, again, be extremely careful. Now you're going to shoot the exact same shot with the second shot as well, but simply have the assistant and the flashes, everyone is removed from the frame. Generally, we'd keep the settings on the second shot the exact same as on the first. But once you get good at this technique, you can actually vary the exposures if you need to in order to create different kind of artistic effects. But just remember that if the exposures are different in any way, it's going to be more work matching and blending them in Photoshop. So to keep things simple, we're going to keep everything identical between these two shots, and they're shot fairly close to each other as well. With sunset, our light is changing minute by minute. And so if you space out those two shots too much, you're going to actually have different exposures. So be sure to take them very quickly if you are shooting in sunset. We take them between like maybe 15 to 20 seconds apart. All right, so we have our 2 frames for our simple composite, and at this point, the rest of the magic is created in post-production. So stepping to Lightroom first, we're going to use the SR Lounge Lightroom preset system first to process the images, and then we're going to synchronize the settings over the second image. That way, they're both exactly the same in terms of overall exposure as well as the way they've been processed. Once that has been completed, we're going to open both these files together as layers inside of Photoshop, and to make it simple, I'm going to put the image with the flash and the assistants, everything visible on the top layer. That way I can see it as I'm masking it out. At this point, all we're going to do is add in a mask and then mask out our assistant and flashes using a black brush. Using a mask rather than the eraser tool is going to allow us to work non-destructively and to modify the selection at any point if necessary. So I'd highly recommend using mask instead of erasing. Remember to mask out also any of the shadows and reflections and anything that would be basically caused by the unwanted objects as well. One of the easiest ways to catch these kind of compositing techniques or composited images is due to these kind of mistakes and not fixing all these small details and the reflections and the shadows and details and so forth. So notice how I'm also removing the reflection of the lighting assistant in the water while also adding back the light on the moss that was originally blocked by the lighting assistant. Now, once we're done with our masking, we are finished. We've created a simple composite, and the entire post-production time really shouldn't take more than 5 minutes if it's shot and done correctly. While this was a simple example of compositing, you can use this exact same technique to create more advanced multi-layer composites and awesome effects that would be otherwise impossible. So get out there, start playing around, post your creations to the SR Lounge fan page as well as the forums. I hope you all enjoyed this video. My name is Pi, and I'll see you all in the next video.